Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, who deserves the blame after the Cowboys blew their big lead against the Packers? Plus, what Big Ben and the Steelers need to do to get back on track. And is Cam Newton back to playing at an MVP level? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. The Packers beat the Cowboys 35-31 in a rematch of last year's playoff classic. Dak Prescott threw 3 touchdown passes and scored the go-ahead touchdown on the ground with just over a minute left in the game to put the Cowboys up by 3. But then Aaron Rodgers led the Packers on a 9-play, 75-yard drive, which he capped off with the game-winning touchdown pass to Devontae Adams. Let's take a listen to Rodgers after the game.
I'm thinking touchdown. I mean, we had time. We had a timeout. The key to any good 2-minute drive is the first play. You got to get some positive yards. So we had a good concept front side and had kind of alert backside, which actually set up the entire final sequence. Hit Devontae on the back shoulder to start the whole drive. That ultimately sets up the winning pass because he's playing high shoulder on the first play. We go back shoulder. He's playing lower shoulder on the last play. We go over the top with a high throw.
Aaron Rodgers on a 2-minute drill. I just don't know what else to say about him. I got to expand my vocabulary. But just a great job by Aaron. The whole structure of the 2-minute offense and just handling the. I thought Dallas was aggressive with the 2-man and the pressure, and the scramble play was big, and obviously the touchdown throw was outstanding.
It's a tough one. I mean, you're frustrated. We knew the importance. How important it was for us to get this win and try to go into this bye week 3-2. And now on the flip side, it's just about staying focused. It's a lot of football left to play. Now we're just going to self-evaluate in this bye week, get better, and move forward.
Shannon, what happened yesterday?
Aaron Rodgers happened. Skip, sometimes you could be in the perfect defense. You could have the perfect coverage. But if he makes the perfect throw, there are very few guys that's ever played the quarterback position in the 98-year history of the NFL could throw the ball as accurate, as consistently as this young man can. I said it when
He's not that young, but go ahead.
He is.
No.
Compared to Tom Brady, he's a kid.
Okay.
As I was saying, after seeing him throw the ball up close and personal in the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dallas.
Long time ago.
I went back and I said, he's the most gifted thrower of the football I had ever laid eyes on. I went to Pro Bowls with Marino and Elway and Moon, and I saw Aikman and I saw Montana. Skip, nobody could spin the ball like this young man can. And he's special. And what happened, Dallas couldn't do any better than what they did. You ask Dak, we need a touchdown. You go get your touchdown, and you take almost 9 minutes off the clock, 8 minutes and 43 seconds. They gave the ball back to Aaron Rodgers in that offense with 1 minute, 13 seconds and a timeout. But the problem is the weakest unit of the Dallas Cowboys, which I told you would be, is their defense. When you ask the weakest element of your team, we need a big stop, or we need you to go get points if you're on the offensive side of the ball. You're asking an awful lot, Skip. You really are. And what do we see? And now they found some resemblance of a running game. Jones gave them 129 yards rushing. Because what happens is when you play that defense like they're playing that Tampa 2 where the guys are going to run out of there and try to get their depth. Aaron Rodgers snuck a couple of draws in there. Jones pick up 19. Jones pick up 15. Boom. So now what do? If we lag, the guys are going to get behind us. If we hightail it out of here, Jones is going to hit us with the run. So now Aaron Rodgers is doing this. He's Geppetto. Pinocchio. I had him dangling on the string.
It reminded me of your researcher with you.
Skip, don't do that, Skip. Why you do this?
I was thinking about you and Steve Owens yesterday.
Why you do this, Skip? He told me to say this. And I tried to tell you. I forced you out. Oh, Jordan Lewis, when he's at Michigan, he just made plays. There's a difference between college receivers and NFL receivers. There's definitely a difference between college quarterbacks and that guy. Oh, Skip, you seen him do this at the back?
Tell me when it's my turn.
That's not your turn yet.
No.
We got this segment long. We extended this segment, Jordan.
Oh, we did?
But yeah, we extended this segment because they knew I had something for you. I tried to tell you this. I told you they're going into the bye week. They were going in at 2-3. Skip, the Dallas Cowboys can't play any better. The Packers had 7 possessions. Let that sink in for a second. They had 7 possessions. They got 4 touchdowns and a field goal. A crossbar. I don't know what was going on in his mind. He must have been on that yak, Joey. Missed 2 PATs. Dak was doing it. Dak was wheeling, coming outside of the pocket. Oh, Dak making plays. Aaron Rodgers, you got somebody on the other side just as good as you. Somebody said. Aaron Rodgers said, you think that for real, Skip? I said, yeah, Aaron, he thinks that for real, because I'm in the helmet too. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I calling into the game. Woo, Skip, that hurt. Skip, you know why this hurt so much? Because they had a big lead, Aaron Rodgers come back, and you wanted to say, Dak Prescott is clutch. Oh, he's clutch. That's what you wanted to say. But today,
How do you know what I wanted to say?
Because I know you.
Well, that's what you're saying right now. He was clutch, wasn't he?
You notice how I prefaced that? What his was, what tense his was. Past. Aaron Rodgers is.
Did you think Dak played well yesterday?
Doesn't matter what I think. I think Aaron Rodgers played better. Which guy had a turnover?
Really?
Which guy had a turnover? Which guy gave up a pick six?
And it was whose fault? Who was the turnover's fault? Help me out.
Which
game did you watch?
Skip, I will let you go.
Wait, I got to hold your feet to the fire. Are you saying that the turnover was Dak Prescott's fault?
The Cowboys.
Wait, are you saying that?
You'll get an opportunity to talk.
Oh,
you'll
so
get an opportunity
you're dancing because you know you can.
You will get an opportunity.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, 10 minutes extra time of possession over the Packers. Zeke Elliott ran the ball. You couldn't ask for anything more. You held the Packers to 7 possessions. But what the Cowboys defense has becoming more and more vulnerable to is the running game. They've had 3 of the 5 rushes they faced gone over 100 yards. They didn't allow one of those in 16 games last year. So not only can you not play pass defense, you can't stop the run now. Well, there's only 2 areas that defense need to be concerned about. That's being able to stop the run and being able to stop the pass. Well, if you can't do either, you're in a heap of trouble. And your Cowboys, as I said it before, when I said they wouldn't make the playoffs, and everybody laughed, oh, you're a Cowboy hater.
Oh, really? Everybody laughed?
Everybody laughed. Even Skip Bayless. Are you right here, right now?
You mean people, Twitter laughed?
No,
or?
no,
Who else
everybody.
laughed?
You did.
I don't know anybody on the show.
You everybody. You are everybody.
I actually laughed when you said the Giants were going to win the division, and they're now 0-5.
And I also said, and you also laughed when I said the Cowboys wouldn't make the playoffs with that same team that went 13-3.
There's still 11 games left. It's just getting started.
And from what you've seen, you like what you see?
Nope,
Okay,
I do not.
then. Well, you
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's your turn, Skip, because you've been jostling me, you've been bothering me all day.
After all that glorification of Aaron Rodgers, I need to point out to our more astute viewers, the ones who don't buy into Uncle Shannon, our more astute viewers will enjoy the fact that Dak Prescott's QBR yesterday on a scale of 0 to 100 was the best in the National Football League. He had a 97 QBR, the best of his career, while Aaron Rodgers had a 74 QBR. 97 to 74. But I got to give it up. Aaron Rodgers won the game, but you failed to point out I was once again, as I told you I would be, without the leader, the quarterback, the driving force of my defense, Sean Lee. And I was also without my starting cornerback, the only free agent they really went after of any note, Nolan Carroll, who started 56 games for the Philadelphia Eagles, including every game the last 2 years for the Philadelphia Eagles, was out with a concussion. So predictably, I told you Aaron Rodgers was going to throw a party, but I was kind of disappointed in the party he threw. Only 221 yards passing for Aaron Rodgers against that defense?
Hold on. What about the guy running for almost $130? What about the $130 that they ran for?
I didn't see him, but again, Sean Lee would say no to all that just the way he would have said no to Todd Gurley last week. So again, if you take by far my best player off the defense, I'm really in trouble. I'm in enough trouble already. And I told you before the year, this is my one quibble and quarrel with the Cowboy management, starting with Jerry Jones. There's a guy named Darrelle Revis who's still out there on the market. And there's another guy who might be even more valuable right now who is building a house in Dallas named Antonio Cromartie, and he's still out there without a team. Would either of those two or both of those two help that defense yesterday against Aaron Rodgers? I say a big yes. So guess what happens? With no Nolan Carroll, and by the way, do you know how big Nolan Carroll is, just off the top of your head?
How big?
He's 6'1", 205 pounds. Would you consider that kind of a big corner like Antonio Cromartie is?
Nice size corner.
Nice size corner. How big is Devontae Adams? Help me out here. He's 6'2", 220. Would you say that's a pretty good size wide receiver?
Yeah.
That's like Sterling Sharpe size, right?
Yeah.
Right there. I think they're about the same size.
Yeah.
6'2", 220. So guess who winds up having to cover Devontae Adams on the 2 plays of the game, 2 fade route throws from Aaron Rodgers? Little Jordan Lewis, who is 5 feet 10 inches, 180 pounds, out of University of Michigan as a raw rookie. Again, they stole him in the 3rd round. He's going to be pretty good. Did he not fight his little tail off on the first throw? Did he not knock it down?
Hold on. This is not the Jordan Lewis that you raved about.
I told you, I love him, and he made a play. He made a play on the first one, but when you've got 5'10" on 6'2", help me out, what's the math there? I'm not very good at math. I think that's 4 inches. Is that not a significant height advantage for a little fade route, if that's what you want to call it? I call it a fade route.
Does the Cowboys, Joy, help me out to the astute, and plus the astute viewers that's watching at home. Do the Cowboys have a receiver that's 6'2", 220?
They used to.
Where'd he go?
Who blasted him all the last 2 weeks? Who said he's not even a shell of himself?
I'm not talking about Michael Irvin. I'm talking about the new one.
You mean the guy who dropped a ball in the end zone that he got a break on, where they, where he goes, he drops the X when he's trying to catch the football. He dropped another one and got a break on a penalty that shouldn't have been called. Saved him.
So the game really shouldn't have been that close, right? Because that's 4 points that you had that you shouldn't have gotten.
Well, we can go on and on about that. Okay. So the point is, Aaron Rodgers, I got to give it up. I want to congratulate, as painful as it is for me, I want to congratulate Aaron Rodgers. You own Jerry World. Yeah. He owned it in the Super Bowl. Did you attend that?
I attended that one.
You won your only Super Bowl and your only Super Bowl MVP. And it was a long time ago. And by the way, Aaron, you're now 5-6 in the postseason since that Super Bowl. I don't know why. I don't know why. And by the way, Aaron, you should be wait a second. You should be 4-7 in the postseason, because obviously that was a catch at Lambeau in that playoff game.
Not.
And it would have been over, and my Cowboys would have won and advanced to Seattle, and they would have beaten Seattle as they did in the regular season, and they would have been in the Super Bowl. But Aaron Rodgers should be 4-7 since that Super Bowl. The greatest thrower of the football ever. How do you explain it?
Skip.
I don't know.
Before you go any further, you can't automatically assume because the Cowboys had beaten Seattle early in the regular season, they would have beaten them in the postseason.
I'm going to assume it.
Okay, what?
I have the right to assume it, because it's a free country.
Okay, what happened? What happened when the Cowboys went to Lambeau and beat them last year in the regular season?
30-16.
Okay, what happened?
Dak had a QBR of 70 to Aaron Rodgers 35. He outplayed him again.
And what happened? What happened in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, here's what happened. Aaron Rodgers made a pitch and catch throw on 3rd and forever because my defensive coordinator, who can be really good, Rod Marinelli, decided to play a dumb prevent defense and had 5 DBs back at the 20-yard line and let Jared Cook run behind Byron Jones, and it was wide open. And it's like, throw it to me here on the sideline, Aaron. And Aaron did the moving pocket, and he planted, and he threw. He actually threw off the wrong foot because it was such an easy throw.
It was not an easy throw.
It was a pitch and a catch.
Drew Brees said on our show in Houston that Aaron Rodgers is the only quarterback that could have made that throw.
Okay, whatever. It was just simple. It was just, by his standards, and I give you, he's a great thrower of the football. I don't think he's better than Dan Marino, but that's just me, and I think Joy concurs with that. I could be wrong about that, but I think
never slander Dan Marino.
Never slander Dan Marino. You heard her.
Every form
you worked with Dan Marino, and you slander him every day.
No, I don't, Skip. Every form of mathematics were easy to Einstein. Yeah? Every throw is going to look easy to Aaron Rodgers.
That was a simple pitch and catch. That wasn't like fitting it through a tight window. Was that a tight window? Baloney.
Through a keyhole.
Then what happened? Mason Crossbar hit the luckiest field goal I've ever seen in playoff history after hitting the first lucky field goal from 56 yards, a dying quail that faded to the right, a slice that greased over the crossbar, Mason Crossbar. That's from 56, and this one to win the game is from 51 yards, and he duck hooks it left, and it somehow fades with the hand of God back to the right, inside the left upright, ball game. So what happened yesterday early in the game?
I guess God was busy because he made him miss 2 extra points.
I guess the demons got a hold of Mason Crossbar's psyche, as we see happen to lots of kickers like Nick Folk on Thursday night, and all of a sudden he missed 1 extra point, and then all of a sudden he's going, what's wrong with me?
On the second.
Because the snap and hold looked pretty good to me.
It was
a little late, but whatever.
It was fine.
Yeah, and he missed it. So the demons are gnawing at his psyche. So what am I hoping at the end of the game and the final drive?
It comes down to
I
a
need
field goal.
Mason Crossbar. I need justice to prevail. I need karma to bite him in the butt for getting so lucky with the 2 field goals last year. So what happens? It gets to 3rd and 8 at the 30-yard line. So that is, by my calculations, let's see, 10 plus 8. Let's say that's a 48-yard field goal that you're sitting on. And what happens again to Rod Marinelli's defense?
What happened?
You tell me, because obviously all game long they are spying Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So what did they do on 3rd and 8? Anthony Hitchens, who came off a tibial fracture, just like J.J. Watt suffered last night in the late game. God bless J.J. I hope he comes back. But Anthony Hitchens missed the first, what are we up to, 4 games. So he comes back in game 5, which is why I can't understand how J.J. is going to miss the whole rest of the season, but maybe so, because I saw Dez have a tibial fracture last year and he only missed 3 games.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe J.J. will come back earlier than
Well,
scheduled.
those games that he had 1 catches, he missed those 2. He was out there, but he wasn't there.
I
But that's
agree.
neither here nor there. But go ahead.
So this is Anthony Hitchens' first game, and clearly he's assigned to be the spy on Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
So if we could see the play, DeMontre Moore's in the game. I'm not sure why, and he does.
What you mean? He's a defensive lineman. He's supposed to be in the game.
Again, he's zone blitzing, so he drops out of the pass rush. So they rush 3, and then guess what happens? Anthony Hitchens and DeMontre Moore take Aaron Jones out of the backfield, and both of them go the wrong way. They both go to the right. What are you doing, Anthony Hitchens? You've got Aaron Rodgers back there, and we all know he can move a little bit. I don't think he can move like Dak Prescott, but he can move
moved
around.
out. But hold on, Skip. You assuming what if DeMontre Moore was the spy? He was supposed to be spying on Aaron
what?
Rodgers.
You don't have a 260-pound guy spying Aaron Rodgers. You have a quick linebacker. And Anthony Hitchens can run a little bit. Yes, he can. So they both go with the back. So you wind up with effective double coverage on a rookie back out of UTEP, a 5th-round draft pick who is starting and playing big minutes in or big time in his first game.
Well, he's
right?
the new starter because
I know, it's
not
over.
getting that job back.
I agree. He was sensational. I didn't see it coming. I had double jeopardy Aaron yesterday. I had Aaron Rodgers and I had Aaron Jones. And I'm like, Aaron, I'm getting Aaron to death. And then I watched Aaron Judge. He made a nice catch. He saved the game for the Yankees. The point is that both my guys go the wrong way, because if Anthony Hitchens just spies, and then you got Mayoa and David Irving, and they both almost have shoestring tackles of Aaron Rodgers, but he escapes.
Yeah.
And when he escaped, nobody's home. There's no spy left because they're running with Aaron Jones the other direction on 3rd and 8. And Aaron Rodgers runs, and he runs some more, and then he runs a little more.
And he thought about running over that DB. You should have trucked it.
I had Mason Crossbar set up to have to attempt a potential 48-yard field goal that could have been like 55 if you sack Aaron Rodgers. If you trip him up back there, it could have been 55.
We'd going for
And
it.
guess what? Mason Crossbar, with the demons in his head, would be thinking, last year I had this kick to win the game. Now I have to make this kick to tie the game to send it into overtime. Different circumstance,
But
right?
he did make a field goal early in the game, so he had to race
Oh,
some of those
please.
demons.
You know what? I think he would have choked
Chased
his
him
brains
away.
out. He would have choked. And it would have been so classic, so fitting, such justice for Mason Crossbar to miss the field goal that lost the game.
The only Heimlich maneuver that was going on yesterday was on your Cowboys, who had a 21-6 lead. Dak Prescott said, we can't spot this team. You said they can't do what they did in the playoffs. They did everything that you said that they did everything that you wanted them to do.
Yep.
And what did it get them? You keep talking about that QBR. What
97? How do you explain that?
Can I ask you a question, Skip?
97 to 74?
Skip, let me ask you a question.
Wait, what's my math on that? That's 23 points better.
Okay, let me ask you, can I ask you a
Wow.
question? If a pitcher gives up 1 home run, but he strikes out 19 and he loses, what has he accomplished? What has Dak accomplished? All I know is Aaron Rodgers took his State Farm heavyweight championship belt off, got dressed, got on the winning bus. Dak Prescott, all dapper and debonair, got into his nice losing car and drove home.
So you failed, of course, to point out, because you often do, that this was basically a one-play football game. It was basically a one-turnover game. There were some other turnovers that came off weird
Most
plays.
games are like that, Skip.
Right? No, they're not.
Yes, they
are
are.
not. They're 3 turnover games, and Big Ben threw 5 interceptions and 2 pick sixes, and they were all his fault. But yesterday, all of a sudden, my Cowboys have another stupid penalty. They get 12 men on the field on a punt, and I don't know what they're doing, but it gives them 5 more yards. Then it's a rocket punt, and it nails them back at their 11-yard line. And then, of course, Zeke goes as usual, 2 yards on first down, and here we go. It's 2nd and 8, and Dak is so unprotected. He's under such fire from the Green Bay pass rush all day long that they have to resort to 3-step drops. I don't know if you noticed this, but he's doing a lot of 3-step Dak and dunk drops, right?
Yeah.
So on this one, it's a quick drop, and he throws it to the sometimes reliable Terrence Williams.
Oh, no,
T.
no, no.
Will.
Yeah, there you go. Call it T. Will.
T won't.
No, don't do that, Skip. Don't do that, Skip.
Because T didn't in the previous game. He had 2 big drops.
What?
T won't. T won't. He hits him right in the hands, and at first I thought he put a little too much mustard on it. I thought in tight quarters it was just a little hard. This is not too much mustard. That's a pitch and a catch. He hits him right in the hands, and he turns him away from Clay Matthews. He turns him upfield. And what happens? Shannon Sharpe gets the break of his undisputed life because the ball, just as it went through Dez's hands in Denver and right to, who was it, Chris Harris?
Chris Harris Jr.
It goes right through T. Won't's hands.
Don't do that, Skip.
And who is it, Demarius Randall? It's like, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you, God. So God's good again. And here he goes, and he waltzes into the end zone. And I am devastated. That's when I slammed the door, because it's just like,
Why would you do that?
You know why? Because the game was over when that happened. In a game that close, that hard fought between 2 really good quarterbacks, because my quarterback, I'm not going to say he's great yet because he still hasn't proven enough. That was a great performance by Dak Prescott yesterday. It was great.
You harped on me so much that Dak Prescott played 15 games and he only had 4 interceptions. Can you tell our astute viewers at home how many interceptions does he have in 5 games this year?
Will you tell our astute viewers at home how many you thought were his fault in Denver? Help me out. None. 2 in Denver, not his fault.
Let me ask you a question. The interceptions, do they go to the receiver resume or are they on the quarterback resume?
You know what? They should have
No, what they should do.
definitions of interceptions. They should have explanations. They should have asterisks beside
Well,
because that was clearly not the quarterback's fault.
Yep.
The one against the Rams, he tried to do too much. His arm gets hit, it goes up in the air. That's on Dak.
Okay, but here's the thing. You say Sean Lee missed the last 2 games.
It's terrible. You got no shot against Aaron Rodgers, especially against Aaron Jones.
Hold on. Did Sean Lee play against C.J. Anderson and the Broncos, who went well over 100 yards in that game?
Yes.
And they gave up 35 points.
Yeah, but what was happening? Trevor Siemian was slicing and dicing.
So
from
what
the
did you
start.
expect? Hold on. If Trevor Siemian and Jared Goff.
I told you what happened that day. Nobody showed up. They were fat-catting going up to Denver,
Well,
and they said it afterwards. We thought we were pretty good coming off devastating, steamrolling the New York Giants, getting revenge off those 2 losses
And
from
come to
last year.
find out the Giants are not who we thought they were. So them taking congratulatory pats on the back for that win was meaningless. Now what they've had to step, because remember, Skip, they played that 5th place schedule, that last place schedule last year. Now they won the division. You got to play all these big dogs. You got to play the Green Bay, who won the division, the Broncos, who won the division. Oh, and Kansas City got something for you, too.
Yep.
Woo!
So
You're not out of the woods yet.
now I got to go to the one big controversy in this game, and it concerns kneeling, but not kneeling for the anthem, kneeling before scoring. And I'll tell you why. Because I did have this thought, but I didn't tweet about it. I mentioned it on a Facebook Live I did after the game, but I'm going to raise it and then I'm going to shoot it down. And that is, should Dak Prescott, once he broke free on the read option, and by the way, if I may say so myself, I tweeted twice, you've got to keep it on the read option because they are crushing Zeke. They are selling out, 8 men in the box. They are stymieing, they're stonewalling Ezekiel Elliott, even on the 4th and 1 that he got.
Yeah.
He had to stretch over the top, and we couldn't even see it till we got the sky cam view, right?
Replay, yep, you're
'Cause
exactly right.
It looked like it was
you
game
stuck.
over. I
Yes.
thought the game was over because I couldn't see him reach over.
Right.
Okay, so then Dak gets a reprieve. He pulls the ball back on the read option and goes to his left, and nobody is home, predictably, except for 2 DBs. So, should Dak, at that point, because there was still about to be 1 minute and 13 left for Aaron Rodgers against that defense, should he have taken a knee at the 1-yard line?
No.
Because why?
Because what happens if he snaps the next play, he fumbles the ball on the snap?
I completely concur with you. It's easy 20/20 hindsight, and I've slept on it. I let it play back through my head. But what if this happens? What if Zeke can't get a yard? And they try again, and they get it to the half-yard line. And they did have 2 timeouts left, so you could you could go ahead and use probably your 4 downs, I guess, with 2 timeouts, right?
Absolutely you would.
Okay. So, but what if you can't get it in? What if disaster strikes, such as a fumble? What if he tries to throw it in the end zone, it gets tipped up in the air, and Demarius Randall picks it off again? A lot of bad stuff can happen.
Right.
Because here's me. I'm rooting for the Cowboys, obviously.
Right.
I didn't know if they could get it in the end zone to start with. It's hard, man.
Yes.
It's hard to score a touchdown. You realize they went 17 plays, 79 yards, and 7. That's a long drive.
Almost 9
for
minutes.
trouble, because the degree of difficulty goes higher and higher, because at some point, somebody's going to screw something up.
Right.
And it gets all the way to the 1-yard line, and he has to fight through 2 DBs, and I'm okay. And my guy, Joe Buck, who's the best in the business at what he does, he chastised the Cowboys for trying to throw the fade to Des Bryant on the play before, because it stops the clock. Okay? I don't have a problem with that, because I don't care. By any means possible, get it in the end zone.
Correct.
And if you think he's got single coverage over here on a smaller guy, throw him the ball just the way Aaron threw it to Devontae Adams on little tiny Jordan Lewis.
But he don't have that pinpoint accuracy.
I thought that was a sweet ball, but guess what? The same Des Bryant who used to put that in his back pocket for Tony Romo, he goes up and he does this. Like, he does this. How do you not catch that ball? Seriously, is that not your ball to catch?
No.
It's simple. It's like, there, thank you.
Can I talk a little bit? You gonna let me talk, Skip? Can I talk a little bit?
We need the knowledge, what really happened in the game, and you just skated around it because you don't really understand what happened in the game, so I had to preempt you. What do you want to talk about? What's left?
I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
You're missing the controversy here. Are you with me that he shouldn't have kneeled at the 1-yard line?
No, Skip, no.
I mean, I guess I can make a case that would have killed some clock.
Skip, you never pass up an opportunity to score a touchdown.
Correct.
There is no give. Oh.
And Dak said exactly the right thing after the game when Jarrett Bell of USA Today asked him about it. He said, I have to trust my defense.
Yes.
It's a team game. And by the way, for what it's worth, the defense had made Aaron Rodgers punt twice in the game. So maybe once you can get him to punt the ball.
I tell you what, all you got to do is go back a couple of years to the Super Bowl and ask them about throwing the ball, about not scoring. Remember Seattle?
Yeah.
Now, Marshawn Lynch got the ball down to the 1.
He did.
Now, most logical people say, hey, we're going to run it again.
Oh, you're saying but bad things can happen.
But Skip, you never, ever know. 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady tried to throw, they were at home. And remember, he tried to throw the quick slant. Malcolm Jenkins picked it, goes 102, ball game over. But Skip, you're minimizing. I don't think you realize just how great that man is. I mean, first of all, let's give Devontae Adams some credit, because he was unconscious 10 days ago. He was carted off the field.
I'll give you that.
A lot of people didn't think he was going to play. Not only did he played extremely well. The first touchdown, DJ, can you play that track for me right quick? That first was Skip. You ever seen these are what we call, there's sometimes when the quarterback throws the ball, these are what we call 30-yard 15, 20-yard handoffs. Look at this. He walked into it. That's a that's a 15-yard handoff. Normally, the quarterback just turns around and heads.
Kind of reminded me of the one that Dak threw to Dez.
No. Oh, come on, give me another one.
Did.
Now, look at Skip. Look at this. Walk into him.
Wait, that's the same play.
We got some more. We got some more coming.
How many times are we going to see this?
Don't worry about it.
Why don't we get to see Dez's play?
Oh, there it is. Look at this. Look at this, Skip. Look at this. Look at this, Skip. Walk into him. That's a long handoff. 25-yard handoffs. Beyond the line of scrimmage.
Just me.
Now,
I thought that was a better catch than throw.
Ooh, this dude's special. Skip, do you realize what you're watching? This would be like watching Einstein write on a chalkboard. This is what this is.
Did you see Dak Prescott escape early and wing it
watch
out the
this.
field?
It's just for the game. Ooh, walk into him. Good goodness moody. Now I play
6'2" on 5'10" rookie? Really?
Whoa.
Wow.
You didn't say, you knew he was 5'10", 180-pound rookie when you were hyping him.
I like him.
Okay, you still.
But he's a rookie. He's thrown in. Guess how much camp he got to play in? 0.
What
Torn
when
hamstring
did you
all through
realize?
camp.
When did you realize he was a rookie, and when did you realize he was 5'10", 180? Was it before or after the game?
Okay, it's all about matchups.
Yeah.
And he's a bad matchup for the biggest, strongest Green Bay receiver.
It just so happens that on the other side, you guys have a guy named number 88 who happens to be 6'2", 220.
Why are we bringing him up? I've told you, I'm out. I'm done. I told you last week.
No. What you should be done.
He used to be Des Bryant. He's not anymore.
You should be done with your Cowboys because I tried to tell you what was going to happen to your defense. I tried to tell you.
Did you tell me Sean Lee was going to get hurt and miss the 2 biggest home games of the year in the Rams and the Green Bay
Morgan
Packers?
Burnett got hurt.
Late in the game.
Okay. And those are mistakes. That's why that zone read was working.
You say Morgan Burnett is as good as Sean Lee? Seriously? I'm offended. Sean's offended. He's
You
watching
should
right
be
now.
offended that your Cowboys defense is bad. It's worse than you previously thought. And I tried to tell you there was going to be some trash this year. But you didn't want to hear me. You called me a Cowboy hater. Jordan called me all things, Shannon Sharpe hates all things Cowboys. I love the Cowboys because that's easy money and I get to fire up, one of them things in the backyard on the grill. Now, this whole week, it gets to marinate. While they going on their vacation, they doing what they doing. Zeke gonna probably turn up on that pontoon boat. Dak will be studying. Ain't no telling what Daz or the rest of the guys gonna be doing. Let this L. Ooh, ain't nothing worse than taking an L into the bye week, Skip. Ooh, I had a miserable time doing buys after the L. It's just something about joy when you win and go on the bye. You go to Vegas. I was turning up. I go back home, turn up. Like going home, turn up because nobody see me. I was down in my own basement. But Skip Bayless, I tried to tell you that your Cowboys weren't going to make the playoffs. You left.
Wait, did the season end yesterday? Help me out.
Skip.
I thought you were in the Hall of Fame.
I am.
How many games have they played?
They gave me
2 + 3 = 5 games, and you're saying it's over?
They gave me my credentials back when I told you they would be 2 and 3 heading into the bye week. But I slid a note up on the commissioner's desk last night. So, hey, you still hadn't addressed Zeke yet. He said, he said, I still got no.
I'm good with Alfred Morris.
That's still on my docket. That's still on my docket.
Morris. Yeah.
Oh, look, Alfred Morris didn't play yesterday. They gave it to some guy named Smith, 41 or 45.
Well, they gave it to Alfred Morris. He had a carry. He got in the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
So think about it. With the all-pro running back, a guy that rushed for 1,600 yards last year, you're 2 and 3.
You know what?
You think you're going to be better if you take him out?
I'm with Jerry Jones on this point. He was, as he said last night, very upset with the way they failed to compete against Jared Goff and the Rams in the second half a week ago. But he was very pleased with the way they played and competed against Aaron Rodgers yesterday. And so was I. If we take out T-won't, if we just take that one play out of this game, my Cowboys beat the great Aaron Rodgers.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they do.
No, they didn't.
And look at the stats. This is the all-time stat sheet misleading. Have you checked this out? Who won time of possession? What's our recipe for winning football games?
Y'all won by over 10 minutes.
35-25 Dallas. That'll work, right?
Yeah.
Look at the third down conversions.
Yeah.
7 of 12 by the Dak
That's great.
attack, plus
Great.
3 out of 3 on fourth down. That
Yep.
means 10 out of 15 times when you have to convert, they converted 10 out of 15.
Yeah.
Is that not great? Look at the
Great.
total yards here.
Great.
408 total yards to only 342 for the great Aaron Rodgers. Wow, that's pretty good. And by the way, as great as Aaron Jones emerged to be, Dallas had 163 yards rushing to only 160 for Green Bay. So you even got eclipsed in that department.
Yeah, you had
Wow.
10 more rush attempts, but you only had 3 more yards. See, Skip,
I'll take it.
You give all those stats, all that sound good. See, so is Jerry in the participation business? He's pleased with the way they played in the second half. I want W's.
So Dak Prescott played the greatest game of his young career.
And what did he get for it?
He got an L thanks to T-Won't.
No,
it was a one-play game.
Don't do that,
You know
Skip.
it, and I
no,
know
Skip,
it.
I'm
And
not going to
again,
put that blame on that man.
Again, what I don't like is there's no depth on the defense, and they lost, as you know, 4 starters to free agency, and they tried to replace them with a bunch of kids because they're all, full of themselves about we can draft these kids.
Yeah.
They're just kids.
Yeah.
They're learning on the fly. So I say, if you give me Darrelle Revis, if you give me Antonio Cromartie, I got a chance in this game, but I still love the way they competed without Sean Lee, without Nolan Carroll, without Awuzie, who pulled his hamstring again yesterday, and he's probably the most seasoned of the rookies. So this was, as I tweeted, Aaron Rodgers, this was candy from babies. That's what it was. It's like taking candy from babies.
No.
And he finally took
We ain't even buy
candy.
you candy.
Yeah.
My babies don't eat candy. So we ain't even
You
give
know
y'all
what?
no candy.
I'm happy with my team. I'm good with my team because the NFC East has not yet started, and we get to play the mighty high-flying Eagles twice. We get to play the Washington Redskins twice, and we get to go up to New York and get revenge for that one also. So there's 5 games. I'm good to go. And you know and I know what happens on schedule for the fly, Eagles fly, that they start to cry, Eagles cry, because you know and I know they're going to come back to earth.
My prognostication about Carson Wentz looking real good, better than somebody else I know, that thing coming to fruition.
Oh, so you think he's better than Dak Prescott still after that yesterday?
Do you see what?
You look foolish.
Did you see what was circulating on the internet?
Foolish.
They had Aaron Rodgers, and he had Jerry Jones in his hand. He had Dak, and I didn't know Aaron Rodgers had 3 kids or 3 different baby mamas. I mean, I was like, come on, Aaron. Aaron, you didn't tell me this. He rocking Jerry. Jerry had a pacifier in his mouth, too. Oh, he patting Zeke on his head.
Remember, our more thoughtful viewers, Dak Prescott, QBR yesterday of 97. Aaron Rodgers, greatest thrower of the football ever, 74 QBR. Just remember that.
What do we go by, QBR? You want QBR? You want 150 QBR? Or you want that W, our astute viewers?
Well, either way, this matchup is must-see television, and that's going to keep happening. So, and then they get to come back from the bye, and they have the 49ers.
Let me do this right here. You saw Aaron? Aaron was doing this right here. Look at Rodgers. Roger that. Then he came to the bench. Y'all was up here. Get out! Get out! My house.
No mercy. The Cowboys defense struggled again yesterday, giving up 20 points in the fourth quarter in a home loss to the Packers. So, Skip, how would you fix this Dallas defense?
Joy, Shannon, I would first fix it by not playing Aaron Rodgers again until the playoffs, right? Because this is a playoff Cowboy team because they are still going to win the division. But I would fix it by getting Sean Lee and Nolan Carroll healthy over the bye week, heading out to San Francisco for the next game. I would fix it, and I've said this since August, so I'm not being a hypocrite, no 20/20 hindsight here. I would go sign either Antonio Cromartie or Darrelle Revis or both, because you've got to have some experience and some depth in the defensive backfield, and they lost good, like sort of average to good players, but nobody I really miss. But you can't just do it with a bunch of kids. And I'm starting to feel like this is a rebuilding year. Like you're so proud of Will McClay and all of his draft choices. And Jerry says, I got Will McClay on my side, picking the right players. But you can't just start over with such a good offense, because I still think the offense is good enough to win the division.
They are.
But you have to have somebody on the defensive side. And I look at, you're playing too many kids because you don't have any depth, and then you got safeties who are just young, like Jeff Heath hasn't played. He's never been a starting safety. And I got to tell you, a lot of times he just looks lost to me.
Yes.
Would I like to have Darrelle Revis back there directing traffic and patrolling? Do I think Darrell's got a couple of years left in that body? I do. I know you thought he was looking pretty shot last year at the end of the year, but again, this is desperation time because the defense can't carry its end of the bargain with the offense.
Well, my only concern with Darrelle Revis was, did he still care enough? He had the attitude of, I don't care. And I think a lot of other teams looking at him on tape saw that he seemed like he didn't care.
But when we had Antonio on the show, and I've known Antonio for a while, he's very close with Darrelle, and he told me off camera, and for what it's worth, he said, trust me, he will play safety, and he does want to play. And I can't believe Darrelle Revis just came and went.
Yeah.
I know he had an off-the-field issue in Pittsburgh, but it seemed like it was he got out of it, right?
Well, there's a lot of things going on with the defense, Skip. They're giving up a touchdown more per game. Like you said, they were 5th in last year in scoring defense. Now they're 29, so there's only 3 teams worse than them scoring D. They're allowing an average of 35 more rush yards per game. That means your offense is not on the field, so teams are able to sustain drives longer and keep that poorest unit on the field. But here's the problem, Skip. They went from middle of the pack in third down defense. They were 15th. Now they're 27th. So not only are you not getting teams off the field, they're converting, which is equating into points.
Yet every game except the opener, which is they held the Giants to 3 points, been
35,
pretty much a disaster.
Been 42, 35, 35.
Yeah.
And Skip, here's the thing. It doesn't get easier Their next 5 games, with the exception of 49ers, they play 4 teams in the top 10 in total offense. They got the Redskins at 9. They got Kansas City at 2. The Atlanta Falcons at 4. The Eagles at 3. 2 of those games on the road. So if you
Shannon's going to be happy camper.
I don't like misery. I don't like
You're
to
going to
see
be sitting
misery.
out on the porch, right?
Man.
Hey, yeah, here we go. Yep, that's what's going to happen.
Hey, Skip, I had this thing going yesterday, Joe.
There's crazy old Uncle Shannon on the porch.
You know what, Skip? you know what I'm gonna do, Skip?
Yeah, it's gonna be happening.
The moment the Cowboys are not in the playoffs, once they're mathematically eliminated, I'm coming to do the show in a beater, a white beater. I'm gonna have the show in a white beater, have my mic right there. Skip!
That's a bad look.
Don't do that, Skip.
Bad look.
Skip, I told you, you think I'd like to see you hurt after what you've done for your boy Shay? You think I'd like to see you in misery?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So here's my final point. They put so much stock, as do I, in Rod Marinelli, and I've told you for 2 years now, he's the star of the defense. But at some point, scheme can't trump talent.
No.
Where you don't have any talent, and you're saying, it doesn't matter, just put anybody out there, play this Tampa 2, right?
Yes. 2 years ago, Skip, I went to the Kentucky Derby, and I had the great pleasure of meeting Bob Baffert. He was the last guy to train the Triple Crown Renner, American Pharaoh. And I asked him, he said, I knew I had a special horse. Did I think he could do that? Once we got through the first 2, I knew we had it. As great as he is, D. Wayne Lucas, Bob Baffert, all these great, the great Sugar McGee, it doesn't matter. They're not training mules. They're not training donkeys. They got thoroughbreds with bloodline. So as great as Rod Marinelli is, and he might be a heck of a motivator, but that Tampa 2 worked at its absolute best when you had a Warren Sapp, a Simeon Rice, a Derek Brooks, a John Lynch, and a Rondé Barber.
Yep.
That's what you had.
Yep, and Aaron Rodgers yesterday was saying, Tampa 2, I'll have 2 of those, and 2 of those, and I'll have 2 of those.
Hey, let me get that combo pack to go.
Yeah, I'll have
with
that.
With a W.
Yeah.
I want.
Oh, and wait, I got my 6'2", 220-pound receiver on the little rookie who's 5'10", 180 pounds out of Michigan, a third-round draft choice. I think I'll throw it to him.
Aaron Rodgers threw a pass so perfect, they had to tell Jordan Lewis when he came back to the sideline that the dude caught the ball. Because he didn't even know. He didn't even know. The ball went over head. He's like, why is everybody so quiet? They told him on the sideline, bro, you just gave up the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, did you see what he did? The first one that got thrown on, the play before, he slapped it to the ground.
Because Aaron Rodgers said, you know what, 6 inches off.
Yeah.
He measured trajectory. He said the wind that closed the roof, the sun is at this trajectory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So is your tank going to be like all stretched out, or are you getting one right out the
I'm
pack?
going to give him straight out the pack.
Really?
Straight out the pack, one of them old beaters. And have my chain on. I'm going to have my 84 necklace dangling. Yeah, but I got his house shoes too. You know, I got them old house shoes. I'm gonna walk on the back of them. You know, you don't put your feet all the way in house shoes. You walk on the back of them.
No mercy. Cam Newton and the Panthers beat the Lions 27-24 on the road yesterday to move to 4-1. Cam had 3 touchdown passes and threw for 355 yards. It was only the second time in his career he has thrown for over 300 yards in back-to-back games. Cam's great game came after he received heavy criticism last week for saying a question about pass routes from a female reporter was, quote, funny. We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez. Welcome, Tony. Good morning.
Huh?
What's up?
Huh? You know something? Did you know? Do you notice something?
Skip, can you just do me one favor? When you know Tony, just wear a tie one time. Just one
What
time.
do you
Never
want
wears
from me?
ties.
Because I mean this.
What do you want from me, man? I always wear a T-shirt. I wore a collared shirt today.
But you didn't even put your shirt tail in. But that's okay.
It's that baby step, Skip. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
Skip, you know you go
get tucked in eventually.
You know how you go to these restaurants and you don't have a jacket and they just pull one out the bag so you can have a jacket.
Yeah.
It's like we just pull
He's
one
getting it from the
out of
stock
wardrobe.
jackets and wardrobe.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You
I'm
look
pulling
nice,
that
Tony.
Michael
By the way,
Ray
you
hand
just-
again.
You just made a good point in the break about how to avoid injuries, and you guys both taped your ankles. You spatted, as you call it.
I spatted I put spat on. I put knee sleeves. did everything.
Okay.
Yeah, he wore
You
everything.
think-
That's why he
you
couldn't
think
move
that
it.
would prevent Odell, maybe?
Well, that one, that was
That was
fell
wicked.
up underneath it. But a lot of these non-injuries, I'm seeing how many, when we were coming up, did we have Achilles? And all these ruptured Achilles?
In these non-contact
The shoes
Achilles. I didn't skip. I taped directly to my skin. I used moleskin directly to my skin and did the heavy duty tape. And plus I had the the nerves deadening my ankles. So that played a role in it also because I got tired of the least little tweak and my ankles was flaring up and I was missing 2 or 3 days of practice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Skip, they're going to have to do some research. Maybe because the guys are not tackling or practicing enough during training camp or anything of that nature. But there has to be an uptick in injuries, especially the non-contact.
A lot of huge injuries yesterday. But talking about Cam, what did you learn about Cam this week?
Nothing. I think looking at Cam, this is who he is. This is who he's always been. He's a phenomenal football player. When he's playing like this, he's MVP of the league. He is up there in upper echelon, elite quarterback in the league. But the off-the-field stuff, we've seen this before. And what does he do? He's going to come out and say, I apologize. And I don't think Cam understands the consequences of his actions. He's not thinking ahead when he says something. And he plays that way, too. When he does the Superman sign, I was always, as a player, like, I don't want to show up another player because what do you think that message sends to them? When you say something in a conference, what do you have to think ahead? You have to think, how is this going to be received? But I will say this, and if put yourself in old Cam's shoes, it works. It works. I guess he said what he wanted. He came out and apologized. Whether you believe the apology or not, do you say I was joking? I don't think he was joking. I think part of it was serious, but he made a mistake. He said sorry, which is good. But then he comes out and plays this game, and talent trumps morals. People are going to be like, oh, it's okay, because he's throwing touchdowns, throwing 300 yards, and it's going to be fine. And it makes him money. He doesn't have to worry about money. I know Dannon dropped him. It's not about the money with him. It's not about the fame with him. But this is who this guy is. Like I said, he's a good guy, too. I've had a chance to talk to him. He's not a bad guy at all. But this is who he is. And why would he want to change? Put yourself in his shoes. Why would he want to change? It's always worked through college. You know what his history there, the Super Bowl stuff, this stuff. Doesn't matter. I think he's so I have not learned anything. This is who Cam is. Great football player, but doesn't really understand the consequences of his words and actions. And, maybe he will one day. I hope he does because he's the face of the franchise, face of the league.
He is.
Well, what I've learned is that while many thought he was washed up and what happened in the MVP season was an anomaly, it appears to me that Cam Newton is finally healthy and playing like the Cam Newton. His pedigree, you don't win a national championship at junior college and in college. Become the Heisman winner. Be the first pick in the draft. Be Rookie of the Year. Win an MVP. Take a team to the Super Bowl and at 28 step off a cliff. I believe for the majority of the last season and early this year, Cam Newton was healthy. I'm not saying, is he going to go out and play like this every single game? Nobody does. But I believe Cam Newton is a better quarterback than what he showed all of last year and what he showed early in this season. He can throw. He has no weakness. He can make every throw, has a rocket arm. He can run. And as you mentioned, all the stuff off the field. He's charismatic, has a megawatt smiling. He's engaging. He's personable. But he says things that puts him, you don't see the problem with what you said. You don't think you don't understand why that would be a problem in you saying that.
He said last night he was giving her a compliment.
Right. Well, if you were giving her a compliment when she came to you, you should have said, I was trying to compliment you because you were female. And to hear a female talk about physicality and route running, that doesn't normally go together.
Apparently didn't tell her that.
Right. So if I offended you, I want to apologize.
Did he say in his taped apology that he was trying to compliment her? No.
You should have just left it alone. You
Leave
wore
it
the
be.
pendant. What did you say the pendant was?
Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
Rosie, you wore the pendant. Leave it alone. Hey, you said what you said. You apologized. She's taking a leave of absence. I believe it's going to be hard for her to do this line of work when 70% of the guys that she's possibly going to interview are black.
Yep.
Made her job a lot more difficult. But Skip, when he's healthy and he's playing like this is a tough team to beat, which brings me back again. How in the hell did they lose to New Orleans?
I don't know. That's a very good question because the game before New England at Carolina, they lose 34-13, and he has a QBR scale of 0 to 100 of 7. Yeah. So he went from one of the worst games he's ever played against a defense that you said was on track to be historically bad, the Saints defense, to beating Tom Brady with a sensational MVP caliber performance in Foxborough, and then beating a quarterback known for comebacks in Matt Stafford in his house in Detroit with what you called earlier in the show, and I agree with you, that was the best game of Cam's career.
Yes.
But what's the stat that we threw out? Cam started off his crazy career with 2 400-yard passing games, 2 back-to-back. What was it, 422 and 432?
Yep.
At Arizona, then against Aaron Rodgers at home.
Yes.
And I thought, silly me, wow, this guy's going to revolutionize football.
Right.
And yesterday, he threw back-to-back 300-yard passing game.
Right.
For the first time since the 2 400-yard games. So he's had a long dry spell in there of no 400-yard games. And you say, well, where did it come from? I don't know. He thrives on controversy.
Yes.
He got kicked out of Florida, and there was a big cloud swirling around him. He goes to Blinn Junior College, national championship. He goes to Auburn with the big clouds swirling around his father. Did he solicit payments from Mississippi State or whatever it was? And his father's kicked out of the national championship game, and Cam wins the national championship game and has to run up through the stands and go out of the building to go hug his father because his father is not allowed in the national championship game. That's playing under a cloud of controversy, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
And so now this happens, and he responds with what you believe, and I agree, was the greatest game of his career.
Absolutely.
And he wouldn't let it go. He wore the little button, the riveter button, going in yesterday, and then he brings it. He won't let go after the game. He says, actually, I was trying to give her a compliment. You were? So now everybody's got to talk about it again, so it didn't fade into the background.
Right.
It's brought back to the forefront because I think he enjoys being in the eye of the storm.
It also tells you that Cam is very good at compartmentalizing because he mentioned,
I agree.
He said that although this was going on, I still had to get ready for a football game. I still had to come out for a game. And although it's still circulating, guess what? We're on a short week. We got Thursday, and we're playing a Philly team that's playing very, very well. So I still have to go about my business. Although all this is going on, and I know it's going on, but I still can stay and not look too far over here or not to look too far over there, but straight ahead. The Lions were in our path. We came here, we took care of business, but we're not out of danger yet. We got another game, and then we get 10 days off. I would be very surprised if I don't. Now, I'm not saying he's going to throw for 355 again like that, but I'd be very surprised if he didn't play well again.
And remember, he lost his favorite security blanket receiver, Greg Olsen, and now Ed Dixon comes out of nowhere
Plays well.
and looks like Greg Olsen.
Going to the tight end.
Yeah.
You know, the thing, he is so talented.
He is.
Really, when you look at every quarterback in the league, if you stack them up and you had them do a combine, you'd be like, this is the best quarterback in the NFL by far.
Yeah,
Well, I
no,
don't know. Aaron Rodgers?
I'm just saying, just stacking them up, 6'5", 265, run your 40, bench
Yeah,
and press,
okay.
throw the ball as far as you
Yeah.
can, do all the athleticism. There is really nobody better than him, athletically talented, and that is maybe what it is. I love what you're saying there, that he has to be motivated. Maybe it's the game is a little too easy. It's like
Sometimes.
Michael Jordan, supposedly, they said that he would make stuff up in his
did.
head.
I was
maybe
there.
that's what he needs to do instead of putting his doing it with his mouth. Like, do it with your mind. Just work yourself up, because when you play like this, it is a beautiful thing to watch. It's a lot of fun. And it's unstoppable.
Because think about what he was going on his only year at Auburn. Once it came out, that was the storyline every single week. Did he or did he? Is he going to be eligible or is he not going to be? Is he going to be ineligible?
I mean, a lot of kids would crumble under that, right?
Every single week. And he got better and better. He falls down to at Alabama, 14-0, 17-0.
Just blew them away.
Comes back.
Tuscaloosa.
Yes,
blew
and then
them
you
away.
got the SEC championship game, and he blows them away. He wins the Heisman, and the dad can't come to the Heisman and all.
Well, maybe that's to Tony's point, This is how it's always been for him, so why would he change it now?
I think he has a hard time keeping football at the top of the list for things. And you look at him, the way, like the fashion and the other stuff going on. I think
football is Tony, I honestly think football is at the top of his list, but
it's too easy then.
Most quarterbacks they're not going to get into it. They just answer the question. He got in trouble when he laughed. If he had just laughed and answered the question, he laughed and then said it was funny because a female reporter had asked him about routes.
Right.
He could have laughed and just no, I was thinking about something else. They'd have never known.
No.
But once he laughed and said it was because you are female and asking me about passing routes, that's not a normal
Right, but
question.
he's not thinking ahead.
Real quick. Who wins a 40 right now between Aaron Rodgers and Cam Newton?
Cam.
Cam
Healthy?
beats Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you loved Aaron
I
Rodgers.
do.
Did you see him run on 3rd and 8 yesterday?
Stop it.
I love my wife, but she's still a little pain in the butt once in a while.
wow.
His wife can outrun him in a
Dare you
40.
talk about Toby that way.
I bet Toby
We love
can
you,
outrun
Toby.
him in a 40.
Who?
His wife, Toby. Toby.
Oh, that's for sure.
You're not Bob.
Yeah, because Tony doesn't work out.
good.
I got the scoop with
Good.
that.
I do push-ups.
No mercy. The Steelers were blown out at home yesterday by the Jags, 30 Ben Roethlisberger had arguably the worst game of his career with a career-high 5 interceptions and no touchdown passes. 2 of the 5 picks were returned for touchdowns by the Jags. Let's take a listen to Ben after the game.
Ben, what do you think's not happening in the passing game right now?
I'm not playing well enough.
You doing anything there? Why is that?
Don't think so, but maybe I am. Maybe I don't have it anymore.
Ben, does doubt ever creep in here, you think?
Nope. It's not, if anybody in this room ever has that doubt, they probably aren't here. You know what I'm saying? Like, just professional athletes shouldn't have doubt.
We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Michael Vick.
Good morning.
Welcome, Michael. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
First, Skip. What is wrong with the Steelers?
You know, the Jacksonville Jaguars might just be that good to start with, because remember, they went to Houston on opening day, albeit against Tom Savage, but they did a 29-7 number on the Texans at Houston.
10 sacks to start the season.
Whew. And then they do 44-7 number on Baltimore in London, and now a 30-9 number. Is that it? Yeah, 30-9 at Pittsburgh. That's pretty impressive, right?
That's very impressive.
Now, this is my gut feeling from a distance. And Michael Vick has been through big controversies before where you're the leader of a team and it gets split by, in your case, the Riley Cooper episode. I believe that the Steelers were the most split of all the teams that faced how to deal with the protest post-President Trump shot of SOBs.
Yes.
And they went back and forth the day before, and everybody wanted to do something different. I'm reading stories that say a majority of the players wanted to go out and kneel. I get that. That's what most teams wanted to do. And yet, Ben Roethlisberger wanted to stay in the tunnel. And I guess everybody sort of acquiesced and said, okay, let's stay in the tunnel, except for Alejandro Villanueva, who is the one combat veteran. And he said, well, I'm going to step outside the tunnel.
Yeah.
And that upset some of the players because we're not all unified.
Right.
And then I couldn't believe that Mike Tomlin and his coaching staff didn't stay in the tunnel. They all went out and stood for the anthem.
Right.
Wow. So you got people going
All
three different
over.
directions.
It's so divisive.
Yeah, and you lose to a not very good Bears team in overtime, 23-17. Now you bounce back and you go to Baltimore and win, but Baltimore was reeling off its 44-7 devastation.
Mm-hmm.
And then that thing happened yesterday. And there was another report about Antonio Brown was so upset with Ben because he thought maybe Ben didn't look his way on the wide open touchdown route because they're still at odds about how they were going to protest the anthem.
Mm-hmm.
And so Antonio took it a little more personally, and he goes and throws the Gatorade cooler on the field. So now you're in shambles psychologically, and yet it looked like Ben was trying to sort of bend over backward to get Antonio back in the mix yesterday. He throws him 19 balls. 19 balls?
10 catches.
Wow, 19 balls, and he throws 55 passes. And it was still a pretty close game midway through the third quarter, and they only run it 20 times. So Le'Veon can't be real happy with 20 rushes, and it's just a disaster. And then he throws back-to-back pick sixes, and it all just goes up in smoke. Do I think they're dead and buried for the year? No, because they're 3-2 in a division with Baltimore reeling. Cincinnati's trying to get back on track, and Cleveland's Cleveland. Yeah. So, but again, you've been through this before, so somebody, either Mike Tomlin or somebody had to take control of a locker room that is still very divided.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, there are answers to this problem, and it's up to the veterans and the leaders in that locker room to figure this out before this steamrolls throughout the entire season. And you see the divisiveness that is created amongst players. Villanueva, he's one guy, he stands for a lot. I have a ton of respect for him. I can understand Ben's point of view, Mike Tomlin's point of view. And you have all these different opinions, and it just makes for a team to not be able to function and focus. And that's the result of, what we're dealing with here. It has to be fixed by the veterans. Where's James Harrison? He has to step up. I think Ben will get it.
You know
together
that locker room too.
I know that locker room extremely well.
Is James, would you qualify him as a leader in the locker room?
Yes, he is. Okay. He's one of the biggest leaders in the locker room. And Antonio Brown. I mean, he has a lot of younger guys, that looks up to him now. Yeah. It's time for you to, take that step in being a leader, a role model. It's important as a professional as you continue to grow older.
The thing is, Skip, this is what we call the last couple of weeks. This is a classic case of a Chinese fire drill, when a lot of people go in a different direction. Now, you got the coaches standing on the sideline for the anthem. You got Villanueva at the top of the tunnel. You got the other players in the tunnel. Antonio Brown wanted to remain in the locker room. So you got a lot of different people wanting to do a lot of different things. So now we got conflict here. Now, I don't know how much truth it is to, maybe this is what's going on with Big Ben and Antonio, but let me tell you what Antonio Brown's situation did. All it did was provide cover for how poorly Ben Roethlisberger has been playing this year, because he's been playing absolutely terrible. Yeah. And him acting the way he did on the sideline, him throwing the cooler, this anthem thing on how we're going to go about this has provided cover for Ben. Now, Ben, when he said, maybe I don't have it anymore, I think he's just he's being glib. He wants y'all to stop asking all these questions.
But is it possible he kind of checked out mentally when he talked about retiring?
Probably at some point in time, Skip, you can't keep saying, I don't know how much longer I got. No. Right. I don't know how much longer I got. I'm thinking about retiring. And when you look at it they lost to a team. Blake Bortles was 8 of 14 for 95 yards and a pick. The only reason the Jacksonville won this game was because Ben threw 5 picks with 2 pick sixes. Yep. The last time that was done in 2012, you know who did it, Skip? Your guy, Tony Romo. As a matter of fact, the last guy to do it twice was Tony Romo.
That's a gratuitous shot.
I'm just saying, Skip. I'm just saying. Yeah. 2007.
Nothing. Are you saying Tony Romo is Blake Bortles?
All I'm saying is, in 2007 and 2012, Tony Romo had a game to what Ben Roethlisberger had yesterday. 5 picks, 2 pick sixes. I'm just putting that out there.
Off of Tony Romo and just back on Ben, you can't have one foot in and 1 foot out, and I think that's where Ben stands right now. I know where his heart is. He loves the game. We know he's passionate about the game of football, but he's growing older. He's 35 years old.
And he's taking a lot of punishment.
Taking a beating, and he's taking the onus of guiding this team for the last 12, 13 years.
Tell me the great quarterback that you've heard I've only known one, Brett Favre, that seems like every year he's talking about retirement. You don't hear Aaron Rodgers. You don't hear Tom Brady 40, and he don't even say a word with an R in it.
He does the opposite of that.
Right. Yeah. He's I'm playing forever. You hear Drew Brees. Drew Brees said, I think I can play the 43, 44, 45. All these quarterbacks. Harris being 35, and it seems like every year. I don't know how. Man, I don't know how much longer I got, Mike. Man, time winding down.
Maybe it's a situation where sometimes internally you can see, look, this team is maybe 2 years away. Young guys have to develop, and that can be a difference maker as well. So
and you're saying you don't have 2 years left?
Yeah, and you're saying, I'm giving it all my everything. Last year we came up short. We put all the effort into it. It didn't work out. Do I see in the near future an opportunity to win a championship or even get close? If not, maybe I just walk away. I already got 2 rings.
Really? I mean, there are teams that compete, but realistically, there's really only one team that we think of every year realistically has a chance of getting to and winning the Super Bowl. That's the Patriots. Everybody else, we hope, well, if this goes well, the Patriots are the only team because their pedigree. In 17 years, Tom Brady has gone to 7 Super Bowls and won 5. Outside of that, when's the last time?
Okay, but in the AFC, the 1A team is the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Don't we always give them a shot?
The last 5 years?
Nobody gives them a realistic shot because why? Defensively, they seem to have no answer for what Tom does offensively. And they fall behind so quick because it goes Tom, boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, it's 14-0, 17-3, and then all of a sudden it takes Le'Veon out of the game because he can't run it. Right. You got to throw it to him. And Coach Belichick, this 19 attempts, Coach Belichick has not let Antonio Brown beat him. So you can give him 25 attempts, but he's not going to let that guy. Coach Belichick normally, now Kareem Hunt was an anomaly. Coach Belichick had no idea who he was. But if they were to play again, Kareem Hunt is not going to beat Coach Belichick.
Yep. Right. One other thing on Ben. When he had his ill-fated motorcycle crash, not wearing a helmet and went all the way over and onto the hood, as I recall,
yes.
I said you just took 2 years off your playing career.
Correct.
Because he takes a lot of punishment to start with because he's a big, strong guy and he just stands in there and gets rocked.
Tough.
Correct.
But do you remember how bad that was?
Yes.
He nearly died from
Yes.
it, and he had all kinds of internal injuries. You don't think those are cumulative now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're in a car wreck
Yeah.
every single week.
Yeah.
So imagine literally being in another car wreck traveling. I don't care if he was only going 10 miles an hour. You're going 10, the car going.
Well, no, it's worse. It's a motorcycle wreck.
absolutely.
Motorcycle
There's
hit
no
a
car to
car.
protect
Yeah.
you.
Right, and you go, you're flying through the air, hitting the windshield, the hood of the
no
car with no helmet. You Skip, they call it asphalt. When you hit it, it's your ass, it's your fault. I don't fool with it.
That is
I
correct.
do think Ben will be able to get it turned around at some point,
better.
but it has to start next week, and the offense has to find more explosive plays and have to find a way to get Le'Veon Bell going. If not, it will be a long season because it'll be all on the defense.
Yep.
That's what they don't need.
Well, it's not getting any easier since they play the Chiefs next week, but he can't be much worse, so hopefully he can turn around a little
Alex
bit.
Thielen, Skip.
Yeah.
Playing good.
You know what? He's MVP at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. The Seahawks beat the Rams 16-10 in an NFC West showdown here in LA yesterday. Jared Goff and the Rams had 5 turnovers, including 2 in the fourth quarter, but still had a chance to win the game late. With under 15 seconds left, Goff missed 2 opportunities on potential game-winning touchdown passes to Cooper Kupp. The Seahawks and Rams are now tied at 3-2 for the division lead. We're joined now by FS1 NFL analyst Eric Dickerson. Welcome, Eric.
Good morning. How you doing?
What did Seattle prove yesterday?
You know, Seattle proved yesterday that you cannot turn the ball over 5 times and beat them. I don't care if you're at home, wherever you are. They're still a very good football team. Offensively, they struggled yesterday. I expected that, but I did not expect us to turn the ball over 5 times. That's what killed us. I don't care how bad you are, how good you are. You can't do that. I know one thing. I think the Rams are a better football team than the Seahawks. It showed yesterday. But, you know, Pete Carroll, to me, in a sense, out-coached our young coach. Well, our head coach, our young head coach. Because what I thought he should have done is run the football more.
Right.
Wear that defensive front down. Wear them down. You know, do what the Tennessee Titans did to them.
Yep.
Wear them out. But yesterday, you had our young quarterback. I still think he's a rookie, in a sense.
He is.
Throw the ball 47 times with a chance to win the game. You know, he will be that guy. I don't blame this game on him at all, but it just shows to me that you cannot turn the ball over 5 times and beat pretty much anyone in this league.
Seattle showed me yesterday they're a resilient bunch. And when you count them out, when you say, oh, this is it, you write them off, they will rise to the occasion. The highest scoring team in the NFL is the LA Rams. The Seahawks pitched the shutout in the second half. Now, held, forced 5 turnovers, Skip. Seattle's going to struggle because they still can't protect Russell.
They can't.
And if they can't, every time I watch him play, I'm like, how is he going to finish this game? Because from the opening snap, they're on him. And you're like, dude, he's only like 6 foot tall, 215 pounds.
He's not 6 feet.
I'm being generous, Skip. I would have shortchanged him, man. Maybe he got lifts in his cleats. Okay, 5'8". They're still struggling to run the football.
They are.
Eddie Lacy, Thomas Rawls, all those guys struggle. 2.5 yards per carry.
Yep.
They asked Russell to drop back and throw it 37 times behind that porous offensive line. But when the rubber meets the road and they need to both their backs, the Seattle they pride themselves on defense. This is a very prideful bunch. That group is intact with Bennett and Bobby Wagner and Sherman and Earl Thomas and Cam. They will show up every single week and they will play you hard. This is a division game, and it's hard. Skip, even when we were playing our absolute best, and the Chiefs and San Diego and the Raiders weren't very good, we still struggle to beat those teams because they were in our division. They see us twice a year, for eternity, and they know what we like to do. We know what you like to do. So I'm not surprised. I knew it would be a low-scoring game, but I agree with you, Edie. I did not see 5 turnovers. Take one fewer turnover, they probably win the game. But at the end of the day, Cooper Kupp's got to come down with that. If you want to be that team, if you want to be who you think you are and get to where you want to go, you got to find a way to come down with that play.
But you have basically a rookie starting quarterback throwing to a rookie receiver, and it just didn't quite work against that defense, which is still really, really good.
They're very good.
But, Joy, before I proceed, I want to point out for the record that my man Shannon Sharpe picked the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl, but did not pick them to win this big division game at Los Angeles. Am I right about that?
Right, because they hadn't won on the road since 2013 against the Rams.
Oh, ye of little faith. Just for the record. So here's how Seattle won yesterday. They won with their starting quarterback, who's not very tall, managing an offense that piled up 241 total yards, which is not very good. You wouldn't think that would win you the game.
No.
And his QBR on a scale of 0 to 100, Russell Wilson's was 29, and Goff's, as bad as he was, as inaccurate as he was much of the game, he was 31 to 29. So even Jared Goff had a slightly better QBR than Russell Wilson did. But what play changed and won this game to me? It was actually a tackle made by little Russell Wilson. Am I not right?
Yep.
He throws what looks like it could be a pick six, and he takes off running. His little halfback takes off running, and they're chasing your kid John Johnson from BC, and who finally gets him on the ground? Wait, number three, got him. What a shoestring tackle that was. He was gone.
Oh.
Look at number 3, cut through 2 blockers and nail him.
See,
wow.
You think Zeke's watching
No,
that?
but he had an angle. And he gave himself up in a way Dak Prescott probably wouldn't give himself up, or certainly Aaron Rodgers. They wouldn't try to make that tackle under those circumstances. That was a dangerous tackle. He knifed in and got him around the ankles and got him on the ground. And what happened after that? Held him to a field goal.
Yep.
So what looked like 14-0 when the ball was first intercepted turns into 10-0, and all of a sudden it feels like it's kind of still a game, because nobody's going to score a whole lot of points.
No.
14 would have felt like 28-0 to me. So again, did Russell maybe win some points back from that defense in the locker room after the game? You don't think Richard Sherman and those guys are saying,
They say you should have made the tackle because you threw the interception. That's how we think it is.
You should have made that tackle.
did he not go compete?
He did.
He did.
You know you're going to
He
get
did.
some guys, Skip, when you play with them, you know you're going to get the absolute best.
Yeah.
That's a play John would have chased him.
But you sort of do lip service to it. You know, you go through the motions of it,
Yeah.
but you don't actually try to get dirty, get down on the ground, right? Because you don't want to risk busting your shoulder up.
Yeah, you don't want to go down to that team 14-0 on the road.
I think that what set the tone for that loss is when Todd Gurley tried to reach the ball across the goal line. It would have been 7-0 right quick.
Right.
I think that would have set the tone of the game. Then we missed a field goal.
You did.
So that's 10 points right there. And that run down, that run back and run down, by the quarterback.
That's 4 points.
That's 14
Big
points.
I
mean, that's a touchdown. Should be a touchdown. So I think. And I think the big thing of all is that we did not run the football. We ran the ball 13 times to Todd Gurley, 13 times for, I think, 43 yards. You can't do that. He's the best player on that football team. You need to have your running back set the tone for this football game. He did it against Dallas. I think he would have did it against even if he had 60 yards.
I agree.
60 yards.
And Sammy Watkins got to show up too. He had 4 targets and 0 catches.
And against Dallas, he didn't do much. I don't know what's happening.
But he had one good catch. Like the baby.
No, that was 2 weeks.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
2 weeks ago. But I'm with your bottom line. The Rams are better than the Seahawks.
Most definitely.
But the Seahawks are still a little mentally tougher than the on-the-verge Rams.
Well, we're a young football team, and I think they say that every year, we're a young football team, but I always say keep some veterans on that football team. They have a veterans football team. Our best player on defense, he showed up yesterday. Aaron Donald, he played a great football game, but I say it over and over. Shannon, you can't have 5 turnovers. You have 5 turnovers in a football game. If you have this is what you're gonna be right here. You're gonna be the joker. You're gonna be the joker. If you got 5 turnovers.
Ask Big Ben about turning the ball over 5 times and what happens to you. Especially when you get 2 pick sixes.
Exactly.
You're not overcoming that.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports, one of one.